here with Matt, one of my high school friends, and his buddy Tony. And today the video is a little bit different. I'm not actually hunting, I'm just hunting with the camera. And so I caught up with Matt and Tony, and they built a brand new hunting blind this season. And you can kind of see it right behind us here. And we've been kind of talking back and forth on this thing, and because I built a 6x6, and Matt, what size did you end up with?
We ended up, the building itself is 8x8 with a 4-foot by 8-foot porch on the back.
Okay, great.
And we're 12 feet off the ground.
That's just almost perfect. I told Matt when I built mine, the 6x6, I had always wanted to kind of sleep in it overnight and be there the first thing, because I'm always busting deer to the field. Well, with an 8x8, you got plenty of room to hunt, and you can also set up a cot and camp out there. So anyway, but we're gonna actually hunt here and this evening, and we had some dogs come through, and I already had a little action, so hopefully something else may still come up. So we're gonna get out of here and in just a bit, but I wanted to answer a couple questions. What's the best thing so far you found about this blind?
We see a lot of deer. We can pick and choose. We have both been very conscious about scent control for years. Mm-hmm. But with this, scent control has not been a problem whatsoever. We've had deer walk underneath the blind. We've seen, well, I think I may have told you, the first day of muzzleloading season, we saw 26 deer back here. 7 of them were bucks. They were all small. And that doesn't include the one mama doe that came out 3 times with her 2 youngsters. So we saw a lot of deer here when it was standing soybeans.
So this was all soybeans?
This was all soybeans.
Oh, okay.
Now it's planted in triticale. And it's just really getting up to where the deer can eat it, but we're seeing on average 5 or 6 does an evening.
Okay.
We haven't seen any bucks in a couple of weeks.
Dog?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's heading back.
The dogs have been circling back and forth.
Yeah.
So.
Lost it.
Well, that's great. Well, needless to say, I'm very envious, and I've already got it on my radar to next year to get some pointers here, and from a person who's actually built one and used it, but it looks great. Now, did you use the deer view windows?
We've got deer view windows in it.
Okay.
We had some of our materials were donated by local guys around here, like some of the roofing a guy gave us, and some of the flooring for the back porch a guy gave us. Our plan is to, and this will make you even more envious, our plan is to next year to make an 8x12 downstairs that we can put cots in and a food prep area.
He's raising the bar already and having it built behind.
Solar panels, you know, the whole bit.
I just hope he made the door wide enough to get a lazy boy in there. So that's the only thing.
There's a pair of them in there.
Yeah, there's going to be 3 in there now. So. Well, that's great, Matt. Well, the deer view windows, I think, are just fantastic. And I see you did something on your blind that, and I see this now, I think it's a mistake, not on this blind, but a lot of blinds I see where the windows are like 3 and 4, 5 foot tall and all the way across. I mean, it's just this big gaping hole up there, and you just don't need that much. I haven't found, and it kind of keeps you hidden, and so I think the 12-inch tall, 3 foot, 4 foot, whatever width you is plenty. Lets plenty of light in, and
actually, it would be best if those were about 10 inches lower.
We wish we had dropped them down some.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point to make here, is that a lot of times people have asked me, like, well, how high should I put my windows? And I think it really matters is how high you have your blind.
Yes.
Well,
and what the terrain is that you're looking out on. So if you're looking down a hill, that's totally different than if you're kind of looking level or up a little bit.
Absolutely.
So you got to take all that in consideration.
But you also want whatever you're going to sit in.
Yes.
To be present. See, we built this in sections down at the farm and then took it and brought it here.
Okay.
So we sort of thought we had the right height for the windows.
Yeah.
And they're fine. Don't get me wrong there.
Yeah.
But They could have been a little lower.
So do you remember how high you?
We made them 39 inches to the bottom of the windowsill because
Okay.
I called one of the manufacturers of the, I can't remember if it was Muddy or which one, and they
Right.
said 39 inches. Well, that might be good for tall folks, but for short, fat
Yeah.
people like me, it's 2. And what we ended up having to do, we found out we've got some old office chairs,
Mhm.
and you can get an extension on the cylinder
Mhm.
that brings it up about 4 inches.
Okay. Okay.
And now that we're up about 4 inches, it's perfect.
Yeah.
But before, if I had to take a shot, I would have had to stand up
Right.
and
do
braced
it.
to do it. And
it.
now I can sit in the chair and do it.
Yeah. Well, that's perfect. That's because the less moving around,
The better.
Yeah, the better,
Absolutely.
for sure.
And,
So-
and you ask about the windows. I contacted a local business here and I asked it for 4 pieces of 14 by 36
Dogs, dogs are right down there by the shooting bench.
plexiglass to make the windows with.
Uh-huh.
And they said $28. And I said, is that for all 4? They said, no, that was a piece. These Deerview windows, if I'd gotten them in clear, were $6 more.
yeah.
And they were like $8 more to get them tinted.
Yeah.
Well, it was kind of a no-brainer.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Any final thoughts on the blind, Tony, Matt?
We've got a few little things we've got to finish doing. We
Mhm.
got pushed up for time because of the
Yeah.
season.
Yeah.
It takes a while to build one.
Yeah.
The other thing is, when we're out here and you have it in view, let Matt talk about what we use for the weatherproofing on the outsides.
Okay.
It was really neat. You can see the white around the eave, across
Right.
the windows, and across the floor. That was K-guard guttering that was left over.
Oh.
And we put that on there to cover up our edges so that no moisture could get to
To
it.
get in there.
In the
Yeah.
plywood, yes.
And then the siding we have, the smart siding, has got a 50-year warranty
Oh.
if you
okay.
paint it.
If you paint it.
Now, we've got to paint it. We didn't get it painted this year because
So that's just primed. It
that's
came-
just primed.
It came primed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Well, very good.
And we haven't found that you need to do anything crazy with camouflage on it. I mean,
Yeah.
the way she sits didn't seem to bother one deer.
Yeah, once they see it, I mean, I think you're right. I see a lot of real camouflage jobs, but
Right.
yeah,
I don't
I mean,
know
when
that it
we
really
were-
helps any.
Actually, when we were working on it, the deer would come out sometimes.
yeah, we'd be up there nailing, and there was a big old doe that would come out about 200 yards below and look up here at us, and just continue on eating like we weren't
Yeah.
even there.
Yeah, I think when it's normal activity,
Right.
they see you sneaking around with that gun in your hand.
Yeah.
That's a whole
Yeah.
different thing. So, well, good. All right. Well, listen. Thanks for joining in, and we're gonna get into the blind here, and then we'll kind of see it from the inside, and we might have a few more questions. So, anyway, let's go. Let's get to hunting.
Okay.
All right. Man, this looks great.
$67.
To the broom straw?
Yep.
The closest broom straw to it?
Right in front of your tripod.
Okay. Because my
I think
tripod.
300 is right there where those bushes are.
Okay, what's my tripod?
The 259 to those bushes.
Now, what about you're pretty comfortable with like wind or?
So far, it's done fine in the wind.
What did we have? 60, 70 mile an hour gusts last week?
Yeah.
And it did fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it did fine.
Well,
I am going to put some mobile home anchors in it.
Okay, yeah, I was going to ask you because
You know, I haven't done that as of yet.
do you pretty much leave your windows closed
We leave them closed till we see something.
till you
out
see
there.
something? Yeah.
Yeah, or unless it's really hot.
Yeah,
Nowadays, it's
yeah.
been really hot. We've opened it,
Go ahead and
but
open But you lose your scent control, so I guess that's a good thing about leaving them closed.
well, we haven't noticed it that much because we are still fairly conscious about non-scented detergent and non-scented soap and
Right.
all that stuff. And like my hunting clothes, as soon as I wash them, they stay outside. I don't bring them in the house at all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's I hit periods of time when I'm pretty conscious of it and will do a good job, and then hit other times.
yeah.
But here's the funny thing. The biggest buck I ever killed, I got off from work,
Right.
went and grabbed my gun, had my loafers on, crawled in the blind that is set up in the middle of a road. I mean, it was like one-on-one. How many things can you do wrong?
And it didn't pay attention to it.
And the biggest buck today walked over to about 80 yards and turned around and looked at me like,
Right. What
are you doing here?
Well, I hear so many stories about hunters who smoke, sitting in a tree stand and smoking a cigarette, and a deer walk right up while they're smoking a cigarette. And I know Tony smokes, and he's been out here, and there's been deer all out in the field.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I just wonder if, I think it's good to be conscious of it, but it's kind of like when things are right, things are right.
Yeah.
I also believe it's where your location is. If there's a lot of human contact coming through an area, it doesn't affect them as much.
Yeah.
If you were to, go into a climbing stand down into a bedding area, absolutely.
That's totally different, isn't it?
Absolutely, you better have your scent control on your A game.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Now, we had to worry about sound a little bit, so we put these horse mats in here.
Right.
And we bought them at Tractor Supply.
They're nice. Did you have to cut them?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, how'd you cut that stuff? Because I tried to cut one time. That was a bear.
I looked on YouTube, and they talked about trying to cut it with jigsaws and reciprocating saws, and everybody said the best thing to do is just a straight blade razor, a box knife, or a carpet knife, and score it along there.
Yeah.
And it was still
It was
tedious,
probably about 8 or 9 strokes.
Before, yeah.
but that cut it. And 2 sheets didn't give us quite enough to cover back here, but we don't usually walk back here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that ends up as storage most of the time anyway.
yeah.
So now this hunting season, you probably have not had any really super cold days, have you?
No.
Maybe the 20s,
No.
low 20s.
And we've got that propane heater here, but you come in here with a coat or coveralls.
Yeah.
Because we find out we see more deer in the evenings than in the mornings.
Right.
So we'll roll up here in the evenings where we've been out hunting other places during the day and still have our stuff on, and actually shed layers. It stays warm. We would like to insulate it this summer. I mean, it's still a work in progress.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd love to be able to spray foam it. I think more realistically, it's going to be styrofoam.
Yeah, those panels, stuff in it. Yeah,
I think that's going to be more realistically what we're going to be able to do.
Yeah.
I'd love to. Well, we have lights.
Okay.
You probably won't see them.
So you're like decorated for Christmas.
Well, no, it's an green LED in it, but when it's dark out, those are low light conditions. This glows, but the deer don't seem
they don't mind.
And if you notice some of the muddies and everything, that's what they have in them.
So the green.
Yes.
Okay.
We've got.
If you build it, you can get a lot more bang for your buck.
Well, yeah. Well, now, do you mind me asking, this is an 8x8, so
It's actually an 8x12 deck.
right, okay. So
We have got with everything, including the heater,
The windows.
the windows, everything. We're just a little under $2,000.
right. Well, that's kind of what I was, thinking. That's what it'd be.
Yeah. And so we didn't really have any plans. I just drew a sketch out on a notepad and I said, Tony, this is what I want to build.
Yeah.
And we started making material list, and our design changed some as we went along.
Right.
Originally, we weren't going to put a back porch on it.
Or the roof.
Yeah. We looked at a bunch of different options
Right.
for the
Yeah, I think the porch is really nice, though. I mean,
It
particularly
gets you out of the weather.
get you out of the weather quick, and also when you go out,
Yeah.
you can get your bearings before you go down those steps.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, hey, I just want to thank you for letting me tag along and find her to Bircher Blind and everything. So anyway, thank you, Matt. Thank you, Tony. And anyway, we'll have to do it again.
You're welcome anytime,
And
sir.
so that's gonna do it for this video. Let's see. Let me turn this around. Tony,
Step in a little closer, Tony.
appreciate it, man. I think we got everybody in here.
Well,
Matt, I
enjoyed
appreciate
it.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. And anyway, next time we come back, we might see a deer, we might get a shot at a deer, who knows? But we've had a great time, and you just can't beat this this blind. So if you wanna build a blind, call this guy right here or this guy right here, and they can fill you in.
We can tell you everything not to do.
Tell you, hey, that's the way to learn. That's the way to learn. So anyway, we'll see you on the next video. Take care. God bless.
Bye.
Bye.